Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, Chairwoman Penny.
Uhuru, Chair Jesse.
Uhuru, it's good to be here. And we're speaking to you from the Uhuru Solidarity Center here in St. Louis. This is the weekly live broadcast of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement with the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, the organizations of white people working under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party to build in the white community for reparations to African people. And Chairwoman Penny, we're going to talk today about this absolutely outrageous article that just came out in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch this morning about a meeting that was held yesterday by the Board of Aldermen, by a panel of the Board of Aldermen, to advance a package of so-called capital improvements, $87 million out of a total $500 million that the city of St. Louis got from the federal government for so-called COVID relief assistance. And what this money is actually going towards is new SUVs for the St. Louis Police Department and new elevators for their police headquarters.
Outrageous.
Absolutely.
Outrageous. Those were funds that were supposed to go to the suffering African community that was so affected by COVID, both in terms of those who got the illness, those who passed away from it, but also those who were the frontline workers and people who lost their jobs. And yet that money didn't go to most people. So tell us about what happened. You spoke, and President Kalambayi of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement was attempting to speak yesterday at this meeting, this supposedly open meeting. So tell us what happened.
Definitely. So the Uhuru Movement mobilized some of us to go to the meeting yesterday and speak out in opposition to this bill, and specifically to say that this money is owed to the African community as reparations. The money that is going towards the police should be going towards reparations, economic development, and also to call for support for Black community control of the police, which is the right of African people to hire, fire, train, and discipline any police who operate in their neighborhoods, which only makes sense. And President Kalambayi and Dinette of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, who's well known in this city, including by the Board of Aldermen, not the least of which for her incredible run for office last year, she was iced out of being able to participate. And this is the second time in a row that they have done this.
Because she ran for, like you said, she ran for office, and she's well known.
Exactly.
She's known by the people in Ward 3 in particular, where she ran, but all over the city. And of course, she's known by the aldermen.
Exactly. So they did not want to hear the voice of the African working class. I'm still relatively new to town here, so they didn't recognize my name or my affiliation with the Uhuru Movement. They let me in. I did end up speaking, but I couldn't tell you if the people in the meeting agreed or not, because they disabled the chat right after the presentation.
Outrageous. I mean, and this is why, as an organization of white people that is organized under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, that is creating the Black Power Blueprint on the north side in the 97% African community, just a few miles north of where we are in St. Louis, that they are working for political and economic power in their own hands, really the power to self-govern.
Right.
And the whole demand for Black community control of the police is part of that.
Right.
Obviously, it's part of state power. African people must have total economic and political control over every aspect of their lives. And they organized the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and the African People's Solidarity Committee under their leadership to extend the African struggle, the struggle for African liberation into the white community. And that's why we are here on the south side at 2654 Gravois in St. Louis, with a sign that is going up any day now, because this building is owned by Black Star Industries, by the African People's Socialist Party. But we will have a sign going up saying unity through reparations. And, we're working to win the South Side, of which there are many, many, many white people who want to take, a positive stand and a stand of reparations towards the African community. But I just want to say one other thing, that just the way that the city council, the Board of Aldermen in particular, moves, and the way the city has moved and is built from the very first day that it was a colonial territory, it does, it is a perfect illustration of what Chairman Omali Yeshitela has called colonialism as the mode of production of the
Yes.
social system that we live in. That, that this city, this territory here was built on absolute genocide towards the indigenous people, which is symbolized by the arch that is here, that is sort of the logo or avatar of the city, and that it represents, manifest destiny, which is a code word for genocide of the indigenous people and the theft of the land. And it's also a city that was just brutally vicious in terms of the enslavement of African people and white terror against Africans. It's the city where Harriet and Dred Scott made their appeal to be free human beings, and that where the Supreme Court ruled, when it was taken all the way to the Supreme Court of the US, that white people did not have to recognize any rights of African people. So, and this history of just incredible brutality and colonial violence and just economic theft from the African community has continued on an unbroken stream up until today. So it goes on today with just these kind of meetings that are there.
Exactly.
That just happened.
Exactly. And I appreciate you saying economic theft, because that's what this is. This isn't just like misallocation of funds or something like that. This is stolen resources of African people that this city was able to hoard more and more of based on the conditions in the African community in order to further attack the African community. So it's absolutely disgusting. And thank you for what you said, Chairwoman Penny. And you mentioned the Dred and Harriet Scott decision that was heard in the old courthouse here in St. Louis. And on March 18th, Friday, March 18th, across the street from the old courthouse at the Gateway Arch National Park, we will be gathering for a rally for reparations at the Arch. And we felt like that was a perfect symbol for us to gather in front of, to declare our unity with reparations, to say no more genocide in our name for all the reasons that you just stated. And that
really exciting to take that stand. And, we want everybody to come out for that. And that's going to be the opening salvo of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement's National Convention. So tell us about that.
That's exactly right. So go to reparationsrally.eventbrite.com to get signed up for the Rally for Reparations at the Arch, and go to uhurusolidarity.org/register to sign up for the virtual conference of the National Convention of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, where we will have an incredible 2-day program. That's going to be March 19th and 20th, Saturday and Sunday. So in just about a month from today, to build the movement for reparations to African people under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, to hear from our keynote speaker, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, from Chairwoman Penny Hess, from Deputy Chair Ona Zane Yeshitela, the architect of the Black Power Blueprint, and many other
leaders and shakers of the Uhuru movement, just of the African People's Socialist Party, working in the African community all over the world to unify African people and liberate all of Africa in the hands of the African working class. This gotta happen. This is the revolutionary struggle of our time.
That's right. Well, thank you, Chairwoman Penny. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. And we want to close out by saying, join the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and unity through reparations.
Uhuru.